Welcome back, everybody, to the Natty 19 podcast. I'm Jonathan Marshall. Hope everybody had a great week.
Excellent week.
Busy.
Yes, and we are back once again to continue this ongoing epic adventure into Dungeons & Dragons Tomb of Annihilation, or the Tomb of Annihilation, as it were. Quick recap. We ended last week with the party in the canoes already, I think. They were setting down the Soshenstar.
Yeah, we were joining forces with, was it the Order of the Shield?
Order of the Shield, yep. Well, you're heading in the same direction, yeah. So it's a joint effort just to make the travel a bit smoother. Zimwa B was hired as your guide again, which is cool. Anit is a new member of the team. She is granddaughter to Zetembi, who is running the Temple of Savris, which is the god of divination, I believe. So where did... Oh, yeah, I just told us where we left off.
Nailed it.
Just to get it straight, right? So we're traveling down with the Order of the Gauntlet or Order of the Shield?
The Order of the Gauntlet. The Order of the Shield had been...
Wiped out.
Did I go through this? No, the Order of the Shield had been disassembled. And all remaining members were then watered back into the Order of the Gauntlet.
Okay, and they're going down because they're going down in what, Camp Vengeance?
Yep, their destination is Camp Vengeance, called for reinforcements.
And then we're continuing on our own after that.
Yes. Yeah. Well, that's totally up to you guys.
But that's our intent.
That's your intent.
Is this Nightal 26?
26, you left Port Nyanzaru.
Midday.
Kway's got a new microphone. Hopefully this pans out. He was actually here last couple of weeks. You just couldn't hear him.
Welcome back, bro.
I don't talk much anyway, so.
Every once in a while, I'd grumble. Yes, Kway, we will go
What the fuck?
Yeah. 26 Nightal. With 6 Knights of the Order, Zimwa B, and Anit, the young acolyte of Savris, the Soshenstar River is far more relaxing this time around. You've acclimated well enough to endure the thick, hot air, and in between the playful jabs the soldiers toss at one another, you listen to the water gently slapping against the canoes. You've been on the river for about 6 hours now, and the sun is making its descent. You're back on the Soshenstar again. It's been a spell. Let's do a little check-in. We're going to start with Quincy. I just want to get a feel, because this is kind of a new benchmark, I think. We're heading back into the jungle for a second time. So, I guess we'll start it with Quincy. Where's Quincy? Where's Quincy's head right now?
Quincy is hoping... He's hoping that... He's thinking about the boots that he ordered for his younger sister, and he's hoping that Dushine will take them to our headquarters, and that Devitas will get them back to Baragost, just in case I don't make it back, that I can't do it myself. He's also thinking that he doesn't quite feel as excited this time going into the jungle. He feels a little more apprehensive. He's feeling, he's a little bit more familiar with the danger, and he's also a little less certain about his companions, particularly Copernicus. He likes Copernicus, but he thinks that his head is, he's overcome with grief so much that he's making bad decisions with his pact with, what's her name?
Sybil.
Sybil, I can't believe I forgot.
I know.
Yeah, he does. So the secrets that he's holding with his map, he's afraid of what it might reveal. Like he wants to follow through and discover what's at the end of this thing, but at the same time, he doesn't think it's anything good. So he's a bit apprehensive, a bit nervous, a bit apprehensive.
All right. And what about Copernicus? Where's Copernicus's head in all of this, entering the jungle for a second time around?
Where is Copernicus? I think he's apprehensive with this group we're traveling with, the Order of the Gauntlet, because I'm sure he's picking up stories now and connecting the dots with Camp Righteous and all those undead we encountered on the river before. So putting all that together in his head, he's thinking about Camp Vengeance, and hopefully Camp Vengeance is a lot more fortified, or they've learned their lesson. Going off that, he's got the Krugen sphere on his mind, and that's the whole point why he's traveling into the jungle, is to find this last piece, and he's kind of just lost at sea with it right now. He has no leads, so he's just got to keep traveling deeper into the jungle. So Camp Vengeance next, and then going from there, the Aldani Basin's just as good as Orlunga.
All right. Zavril, you're going down the Soshenstar again. You hate the water, I seem to remember. But at the same time, there's got to be a renewed vigor there as a ranger slash monster hunter. Where's Zavril sit with all this?
Zavril's actually excited. Last time he was in the jungle, he had a brush with death or two, but he kind of invigorated him. He hasn't had that much excitement in a while, and he's rested. He's learned a couple things, not to look at random traps that the elemental vines set and stuff. Also, along this trip, speaking of Camp Righteous, the people on the boats were telling this story about a great warrior named Zutuk, and he just got the fire burning inside of Zavril. So
nice. What about Zavril's family? Take me there. Take me there for a minute. It's been a little while since we heard from Zavril's family. If I remember, you had one son, right, and a wife.
Yes.
that you had left behind.
Yes. They're the entire reason I'm here. Zavril definitely misses his family some. He does want to go back, but just what happened in the past and everything that he has to do to actually make things right first before he can actually get back there.
May I ask what happened in the past?
Hey, this isn't a BTS, all right? Let's save some gems.
All right.
Irame, we just had some Irame heavy episodes. Obviously, you had some tension back there in Nyanzaru, even up until the moment it was in your rear view. So here we are. It's going to be quite a while before you see the lights of civilization again. Where's Irame sitting now with the recent events with your mother and the news of your father?
Irame is sitting very quietly in the canoe, and she has her compass out in her lap, which is now tied to the most important people in her life, her parents, and now it ties her to Wakanga as well. So as she's sitting there, she's thinking about all of these relationships. She's thinking about her mother. She's thinking about her father. Her father is dying, and she's thinking about Wakanga. So there's a lot of emotions. There's anger towards her mother because Irame believes that her mother knew that solving the death curse would help her father, but out of selfishness wanted Irame to return anyway. She's saddened because the thought of losing her father, obviously, and also there's also a spark of maybe romance. So it's also mixed with some happy emotions. So as she stares at her compass, it seems to be pushing her in all different directions. She's definitely taking advantage of the fact that they're a large party, and it makes her feel safe to just kind of let her mind wander.
So that being said, now, correct me if I'm wrong, anybody can pipe in on this, but out of everybody, I think since the beginning, I feel that Irame, almost in secret, was more attuned with the Death Curse quest than everybody else. I feel like everybody else took the part of the 3C shipping that I laid out, but I feel out of everybody, Irame was still, because maybe it was her connection with Syndra.
Absolutely. It was before she knew her father was ill and had connected those dots. I think perhaps Syndra, being the powerful woman that she was, Irame was drawn in immediately to her knowledge and her experience. She represents something that Irame aspires to be, and she wanted greatly to help her. And I think that's what tied her more closely into, solving, more loyalty to her than to just securing the trade routes for the company.
So there's actually an interesting shift going on here.
I just remembered. I also think that somehow we've definitely laid the foundation that Irame's magic has sort of somehow, or the chaotic nature of her magic has sort of led her to Chult and led her on this adventure in the first place. And I think that somehow, and I don't know how yet or if it will ever be revealed, Syndra somehow knew details of Irame's life. Maybe it was about her father. Maybe it was just Syndra knew that Irame might be hiding some potential, or that maybe Syndra laid the path for Irame to get there, and in fact wasn't her magic. I don't know, but I definitely think Syndra knew something about Irame that she, not in a bad way, but manipulated to get Irame on this quest for her.
Yeah. What was I going to say?
I know, I'm really sorry. But I thought that was important because I kind of forgot that was happening, and I think we dropped it a little.
No, I'm back on track. So since the beginning, you guys solving the Death Curse was almost kind of a joke. It was almost kind of embarrassing. Alarad, in his own words, was like, look, it's not going to happen, guys, but let's just pretend that it's going to happen. For now, what your real mission is to bolster the 3C shipping influence and this and that, and that's what you guys have been doing. And you've been doing a great job at that. But I think now, even in Copernicus's situation, I think Copernicus is starting to realize now with his deal with Sybil that his wife's return, or even her resting, might be in jeopardy with this Death Curse. So I'm starting to see you guys start to take the whole Death Curse thing a little bit more personal as we're continuing onward. And I just thought that was an interesting shift. So yeah, let's
traveling down the river.
Let's get to it. Back on the water.
Back in the water. Quincy's curious about the knights that we're traveling with. What's their, you said a little bit, they were sort of, friendly, jabbing at each other and stuff like that. But what are I want to kind of size them up a little. Who are we traveling with? What are these knights like?
They're knights for sure in any other land, but here they're not wearing, they're wearing leather gear. So it is that, I think that also comes in on the perception, and maybe even and comes out in their personalities. They're just not as bogged down right now anyway. You definitely get a sense that there is darkness. There's a looming darkness, but it's almost like they're taking a break from it. This is actually kind of like a happy moment currently in their demeanor, or in their current state of mind. Being on the water right now is actually a relief to them.
Have these guys been to these camps before?
No,
Camp Vengeance?
None of them have been to Camp Vengeance. Camp Vengeance is newly erected, if I may.
He glanced at, glancing around the room, waiting for
a fucking comment or a laugh. So none of them have been there. They're all aware of the plight at Camp Righteous, but nobody's really talking about it. It's kind of a done deal. You get the hint that you don't mention it unless you do, but none of them have mentioned it. So,
Are they carrying themselves like? Do I feel confident that they're well-trained,
experienced? Yes. Yep. Yeah, they're experienced. Yeah. They're definitely as, if not more, experienced than your lot.
Okay. And the last thing is, what about my impression of their moral compass?
They definitely seem on the side of good. For sure.
Boat full of mots.
Yeah.
Old
Even those
applesauce.
guys were good though before the fucking Camp Righteous broke them. So everybody's in good spirits, well equipped and well supplied. So there's no reason for them anyway to show otherwise.
I guess I'll play the lute a little bit while we're traveling down the river to try to keep the atmosphere light. Maybe I'll play some of the Fae tunes that I've learned just in case our little friend is nearby.
Oh, yes. I
Yeah,
like
they're
that little guy.
They're definitely getting into it. They seem very appreciative of the music. After a bit, let me see, maybe... Yeah, so you've been on the river for about 6 hours now. So at this point, Zimwa B pauses in his paddling for a moment. And he looks around the jungle, and those who notice him do the same. Insects and critters buzz and chirp, and you hear him say, "We should consider making camp soon. Night will be upon us."
Copernicus has the bone lines.
Bone lines were washed away.
Yeah, what do we have? Did we ever go over our supply?
Well, we did give
list?
Zimwa B some gold, or Copernicus did, so maybe he bought a bone line, or he built one. You just need chicken
I
bones
was
and
thinking
rope.
we'd upgrade to bells or something.
Ooh.
You've got supplies. I'm not. We all know what goes into it. So that night, I'm gonna jump into this. If anybody wants, there's gonna be some bit of time lapsing going on. But if anybody feels they want a moment to jump in on something, feel free. So that night, as you guys are settling in, Quincy stirs a bit in his sleep. He's the first to fall asleep, it would seem. Once again, we see the child Quincy staring deep into a mirror, the cramped washroom cluttered with random trinkets and baubles, and he speaks. "Savras, O Savras, show unto me the one whose love is set to be." He repeats the mantra twice more and stares intently into the mirror, and a voice from behind startles the boy. "Quincy, have we not discussed what it means to invoke the name of a god? Now, whilst true, Savras may be an obscure god at best, but a god no less." It was Master Triss scolding the boy. It didn't work anyway, and the young Quincy begins to solemnly walk towards Master Triss, whose expression softens a bit at the sight of the disappointed child. The tall, elegant elf squats before the boy, and he says, "Legends tell of a time when Savras was trapped within the confines of Azut's staff for a long, long time. The most devout followers of Savras would construct such a replicate of this staff, if only to remind them and honor their god's plight. And it just so happens I was planning a walk into the forest today, to dance with the Fae and perhaps lay beneath the willow for a spell. However, if you'd like, we could instead spend our time constructing your own such a staff, dedicated to Savras. And maybe then your spell in the mirror would succeed." The boy's eyes widen with excitement, and together they exit the room. And eventually sleep finds the rest of you, and the journey continues. The Knights of the Order keep to themselves mostly. when it comes time to stop and set up shelter for the night, they build theirs a bit off to the side of your own, so as not to intrude, mostly just out of respect. Among them, Savan is the only one who really engages in your conversations, but for the most part, they've all been extremely polite and respectful. Even as the days pass and the weight of the trek begins to set in, it seems they maintain their composure. The few times your party was set upon by the wildlife, the encounters were swift and mostly clean. You barely had to do much. There was a few incidences with Anit. There was one morning where you guys had taken off and she realized a few hours later that she had forgot her pack on the side of the river. Even in that situation, the knights maintained their position, and they graciously agreed to turn around and go back to save the damsel in distress.
Nothing but trouble.
Yeah, if there's anything you guys want to say about any of these things, feel free. Because otherwise, I'm just kind of like fast traveling here, you know?
Yep. Showing a few scenes here and there of the...
Yeah. The third day in the month of Hammer, you see...
Hammer time.
Protruding from a large clearing in the canopy ahead off to the left, a massive statue. And as you draw near, you can now see that it resembles a tall 80-foot man sitting on the ridge, and on his head rests a large stone crocodile.
Quincy is definitely, his interest is piqued. Maybe some kind of an archaeological site. He turns and looks to, are we all traveling? I imagine we have several different canoes here.
Oh, yeah, yep.
Is Savan anywhere near?
Yep, yeah, you guys are all kind of...
Okay. I'll turn to Savan. Were you camped near here?
No, I believe this is Camp Righteous. I have not been this far. This was my mission.
Ah, this is Camp Righteous.
Yes, this was my mission when I was taken against my will to Gouda, where I met you.
Does the Order know anything about this statue?
Only that it was very dangerous. I guess they had been meaning to study it. However, any who entered had not returned.
Entered? So it is more than a statue, then?
It is a shrine, if I am not mistaken. But I imagine we will see shortly here. And as you do, because you guys are still rowing, or paddling, you come up on the ruined canoe docks, and one of them is completely smashed in as though something extremely large had crushed it.
As they draw near, Irme will excitedly stand up, maybe even like a little off kilter, and she'll look to it and she'll say, "But what wonders could be found in there?"
Copernicus will steady you. Irme, please sit back down.
Poison dots and curses. Quincy would be also wondering
Right.
be in there.
Yeah, shortly inland from the docks, you can make out the burned wreckage surrounding the base of this massive stone statue. It looks as though the camp once stood here, but now is burned to the ground. Smoke still rising from several small pockets of debris, and the faint odor of corpses mingles with the burning. But interestingly enough, though, there are no bodies anywhere in sight. And at that, one of the soldiers actually stands up in his canoe. He says, "By Joaquin's arse, I heard the rumors, but seeing it all together, so much different now, isn't it?"
Quincy, would it be uncouth to suggest we search the battlefield for valuables?
Quincy almost wrinkles his nose in disgust.
I figured as much.
My God, Copernicus, no interest in the temple, yet you want to loot the battlefield of a horrible event.
Irme, as you're saying that, your attention turns to the dark opening between the statue's feet, and you feel your body tingle a bit.
I don't believe I've ever seen destruction quite like this.
I am intrigued, but perhaps it's for another time.
The soldiers don't seem to be even interested in stopping. They almost
Who could
seeing-
blame them?
You look at him and you see one of them give a shiver, as if he has no interest in this supernatural.
As if the undead give him the willies.
Exactly.
Copernicus will ask the soldiers, did anyone survive?
Oh, yes. As a matter of fact, as far as I know, this is Savan speaking. He's like, as far as I know, there were several survivors. They had fled down the Soshenstar and set up camp at Camp Vengeance.
Well, they are made of tougher stuff than I. I would have probably fled back down the river to Port Nine Zaru myself.
Yes, well, unfortunately, I do not know what state of mind they are in, what they took from that night. I cannot say this only because the details in any of their reports is very lacking at best.
In the temple, it's considered too dangerous to explore. Nobody knows what value it has as an archaeological site.
It is far above our pay grade.
Perhaps I will report the temple to the 3 Cs, and maybe they would be interested in it in the future.
Yes, I haven't heard of anyone making it through. As far as I know, everybody that had gone in had never come out, so that would gain you some reputation, I imagine. So the soldiers they don't seem to be stopping, so I imagine you guys are sticking with them.
Yeah, but
Yes.
as we pass, Irame is getting as best a look she can at the temple, and she's actually doing a very rough sketch of the male figure with the crocodile head and all.
Yeah, it appears on your way by, what you can discern from it, it appears very old. It appears as if it were constructed by Chultans, for sure. Chultan people.
That was basically what she was doing. She wanted to get the rough shape to show someone in port who might be able to say who built it by observing the architecture of it.
Yep. By 5 hammer, you arrive at the drop-off point for Camp Vengeance. It's been 9 days on the river, and the soldiers that accompanied you couldn't appear happier to be arriving at their destination. Savan turns to you guys and he says, "So as I understand it, you all will continue to the basin and then travel west inland to the Mistcliff baseline."
That is the plan. Would it be too much trouble if it's okay with the rest of my party if we were to rest here for a night and stretch to get out of the canoes for a little while? Maybe get a hot meal?
My thoughts exactly.
Oh, absolutely. If it's not too far out of your way, of course. Camp Vengeance is a couple hours inland that we would need to travel. Zim would be, you guys, it's up to you guys. Zim, you guys have supplies. You're not...
Irame is game either way.
So we're left with the decision now. Do we want to check out Camp Vengeance?
Maybe just to get an impression of it.
I'm all for getting off of the river.
Just one night. It can't be taken by zombies in one night, right?
Copernicus is pretty curious. He wants to see what Camp Vengeance is all about, just to see how they set it up.
Okay. Sound like Camp Vengeance it is. At this point, there's several different options. Soshenstar pours into the Aldani Basin, where
Makes
it meets
sense.
up with River Tath. Well, where it connects with River Tath, anyway.
What's River Tath?
River Tath is that one to the southwest that pours into the ocean from
I
there.
see it. Okay.
Yeah, so if you guys were to come around, if you look at all the explored areas on the map, like, people have gone up the River Tath a short ways, but, not all too far inland. So you have that gap of unexplored area right between the River Tath and the River Soshenstar.
And none of our maps reflect the Aldani Basin. So for us, it's unexplored as well.
Yes, that's right. You do see on your map, marked on your map anyway, the heart of Uptau, which is just south, I believe, if I remember correctly, was just south of the... Actually should mark it on this map over here.
Our player's map.
Player's map, yeah, thank you. Camp Vengeance.
As we put the canoes aside and stuff, and as we're hiking toward Camp Vengeance, Quincy's been thinking about the dream that he had about his younger days with Master Triss and the Azut's staff. So Severus, as the story goes, was trapped in Azut's staff. Is that
Azut's staff? Yeah.
He's going to look for some type of stick or piece of wood that he thinks will be a good staff. He wants to make one.
Why don't you give me a foraging? What was foraging? Nature.
Survival. Natty 1.
Yeah, you weren't able to dig anything up the first
All right.
first half hour.
Quincy can't find a stick in the jungles.
It's got to be a good stick.
Can't just use any old stick for a staff of.
Not going to grab a Vinia Sicarius.
What are you looking for there, friend?
When I was a young boy, I was taught how to make a certain kind of staff. And I was just thinking about it lately, and perhaps it was meeting Anit and just glance over at Anit and her grandfather. But have you ever made one of the Azut staffs? Quincy raises his voice to say that to Anit.
Anit thumbs up her glasses.
May scrunches up her face.
She moves the mousy hair out of her eyes.
She says, "Oh, I'm actually glad you asked. As it were, Grandfather believes it is Severus's freedom that should be honored symbolically. You will find no such staves on the temple grounds."
I hope it would not offend you if I were to make one. You see, I have fond memories, childhood memories of such a
Oh,
thing.
no, Quincy, not at all. It would not offend me. I am not as embedded as my grandfather, so to speak. I do not believe in such superstitions.
There you have it, Copernicus.
Was just thinking I could aid you in that next role.
I would welcome the help, and I'll describe the type of wood I'm looking for. It's got to be straight, but not too straight, you see. Dry, but not too dry. It's got to be a hard wood, but not too hard.
Yeah, so you could give a roll for the second half of the trek here.
All right.
See if you find something there.
What does his aid do? Give me a
Advantage.
19.
All right. Yep, you were able to find a suitable stick. Now to find a diamond worth 200.
For real?
No.
Damn it.
It's got to be a ruby, 25 gold
Copernicus,
pieces.
did you loot the bodies at Camp Righteous?
You are my
There were
moral
no
compass,
bodies.
Quincy.
You do find a suitable stick, but it does, in fact, require a couple more things. There does have to be some sort of a gemstone embedded. And from what you can remember, the one you used as a child was an aquamarine.
The most boring of gemstones.
I didn't realize you were a gem snob.
I am.
That being said, even after the construction of the staff as a child, you the spell in the mirror still didn't work. So
Yeah, I've gained more magic and such since then.
yeah, I think it's only natural anyway.
It gives me something to do.
Right. It's funny. This is actually like an episode of Lost. It's just something you'd see, like a childhood fucking thing. Is so. I keep going back to that little fucking toy plane. I can't remember which character was it. Kate, the toy plane she was going after. She finds the toy plane on the island, and
The character I like the least after Jack, Kate.
you're focusing on the wrong part of the story. It was the toy airplane. It was the toy airplane. You know, that's now significant in this place.
Unlike Kate.
Yeah, this toy staff essentially is now like a significant part of the journey here.
What are you guys talking about? How about that?
Lost.
Oh yeah, are we playing a
Lost.
game?
We're talking about a group of people stranded on an island.
Yeah.
All right. We're going to pause and watch some Lost for a little bit. We'll be
No,
back.
no.
I don't think I've seen a single episode.
Oh man.
Oh, come on. Come off of
Jesus.
that.
Team building. We got to watch the whole series.
So, after a spell, you find your stick, and after a bit, shortly after that,
I'll be using it as a walking stick while we're going through the woods.
yep, you finally arrive, and I'm gonna put this. I may as well put this up on the screen. The map of Camp Vengeance.
It must be nighttime.
Is it night for you too, Kayla?
Yep.
There it goes. Oh, no.
Oh, I know what's going on.
Is this a fucking roll 20 moment?
It's a roll 20 moment.
This moment brought to you by.
It's the fucking advanced fog of war. The fucking fog of war. Who fucking uses that shit anyway?
It's the black smoke.
I think it's a pretty good feature if it's implemented well.
Disable everything. Just show me the fucking map.
Oh, wow.
They've got walls in this one.
Spiked
Hits and
barricades.
spikes. Yeah. Got a trench dug around it. It looks like.
Looks like they've been busy.
It's been what? A month?
Yep.
Makes me want to go out and actually build like a little barricaded fortress.
Would be awesome.
Palisades.
Need Conan Exiles, bro.
Soon, hopefully.
So, you guys arrive at Camp Vengeance. You're greeted immediately. There's a clearing. Are those a palisade?
Palisades, the wall, like what the walls are.
Okay,
Wooden
so
walls,
this is
you
just
know?
a spiked barricade. Okay, I see now. It's a spiked trench, and then there's a palisade
Yeah.
above.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
So the camp is walled in by palisades, and surrounding the palisades is a spiked trench.
A trench with spikes. And at the main gate, 2 guards stand post. And at the immediate sight of the patrol or the soldiers that are accompanying you, they immediately open the gate. They call out, "Reinforcements! Reinforcements!" And you guys enter.
And then Yerme
Now-
walks through.
I should say, this place is not all beautiful. Actually, I have some flavor text right here that I can read. Through the foliage, you see a crude timber fortification, a walled compound with watchtowers and tents inside of it, encircled by a ditch bristling with sharpened stakes.
It's a huge camp.
It is.
Yep, it is a big camp. Scattered around the fort are piles of charred human corpses and flayed animal carcasses swarming with flies.
Charming.
So the place stinks.
Quincy will cover his face with a kerchief.
It essentially looks like, in a nutshell, looks like animals, wildlife that had attacked the fort. They were skinned, flayed for food and whatnot, and just left.
What's with the human bodies?
The soldiers that are with you, I do not know. I suppose we will find out soon enough. The soldiers are greeted and immediately ushered away, and you guys are also greeted. So a man comes out, and he immediately starts giving orders. He says, excellent. What took so long? He looks a bit stressed out. Go to the barracks, offload your gear. We shall start the briefing shortly. And the soldiers immediately start moving. And he's looking at you guys.
Yerme's going to turn to Copernicus and say, I think I would have rather made our own camp.
I agree.
He's like, what have you lot? Are you here to help as well? I have injured. I have sick.
I may be able to help with some of the injured.
All right. I've got 4 men with mad monkey fever. 2 with shivering sickness. I need to get them to Port Nyanzaru on the double.
I'm afraid I cannot help with an illness. When you said injury, I thought you meant wounds and such.
I do have wounded, but they are being treated by the Templars here. It is the illness that we just do not have the supplies. If we could get them back to Port Nyanzaru, I believe their lives can be saved.
I'm afraid our destination is deeper into the peninsula.
Your destination is deeper? You mean beyond this camp?
Yes, sir.
Yes, back down the river.
Oh, so you will not be joining us then?
No, I'm afraid not. We were looking for just your hospitality for the night. I'm Copernicus. Your name, sir?
The name is Niles. Niles Breakbone. You are free to stay the night, but I must insist. Every man pulls their own weight. As you can see, we are in a time of need.
I will assist the Templars if they could use me.
Do you have healing skills?
I do.
This is very well. Quincy, you said your name was?
It is so, sir.
Go and see Pern Salhana.
Param Salhana.
Yes, you'll find her in the tent neighboring our own as we stand here. And what have you lot? What skills do you share?
I've got decent sea legs. Listen, Commander, I take it right, Commander Breakbone.
Yes.
I mean, I've got a strong back. I'll do what I can to help, but we've been traveling for 9 days in the river, and we're quite exhausted.
Forgive me. Times are hard these days, and we have been through quite a lot, and it seems to never give.
I understand these men need to get back to Nyanzaru, but like Quincy said, we are going deeper in the jungle. I mean, if they make it when we're on our way back, we could possibly fit them.
Do you happen to know how soon that could possibly be?
I fear we have no way of knowing.
It would be a week or more.
By then, these men will be dead. I just cannot spare the men. We had 6 reinforcements come today. It will take that many just in boats to get these men to safety.
Is there... no one knows of anything that can be gathered here in the jungle for these illnesses? Maybe you could speak to our guide, Zimwabi?
Zimwabi turns around. You can tell now, looking at Zimwabi, he's very nervous. He's uncomfortable in this environment here. Turns around and he says, I may be able to help with some of those symptoms anyway. Perhaps to ease the pain. If you will excuse me, I will go and forage them.
Irme is going to sigh in relief because for a minute there she felt completely useless.
Zavril will go assist Zimwabi in gathering.
Niall says, make yourself at home. Just try to help out where you can. Once again, forgive me. I did not mean to come off the way I did. We are still in the process of setting things up here, as you can tell. And as I stated, it has not been easy. Even worse for the ones who came here from Camp Righteous.
How many were there from Camp Righteous?
3.
We've heard awful tales of what happened to that place.
I am not one of the 3, but as I understand it, the undead had washed over them like it was nothing. Now, we have no reason to believe that the same would happen here. For whatever reason, the undead have not been sighted on this side of the river. There's a few oddballs here and there, but nothing so drastic or dangerous. Anyway, you are welcome to roam the camp, help out in any way you can. I must get back to planning.
Quincy will go look for Perm Salhana.
Yep, you find her in the neighboring tent, the tent there south of the square tent. As you walk into the tent, she looks up from a table, and a man who you could only assume would be a Templar, he's got a holy symbol of Torm around his neck, dressed in robes, lightly armored, but wearing grayish white robes. On his way out, he nods to you, and the woman looks up at you. He says, you are not familiar to me?
I am a visitor in the camp here. Your commander, you see, he's told us that all who stay must contribute, and my expertise would be in assisting you with the wounded.
Ah, yes. That would be wonderful. Behind us, there are 4 tents. The 2 in front have injured soldiers, flesh wounds, some a little bit more deep, but they could use your assistance. The 2 in back, however, I would try to steer clear from those ones. There is an illness. There's mad monkey fever is spreading through the camp when we actually need to get them out of here as soon as possible. The thought of leaving them out in the jungle sickens me.
I'm very sorry to hear that. There's nothing I could do about the illness, but I can treat the wounds.
Irme will be joining in behind Quincy and say that we do have some people out in the jungle who have knowledge of the local plants and natural remedies. Perhaps they can help.
Well, that would be good news. We could use some good news.
Pardon my frankness, but how contagious are the illnesses in the camp currently? Is it transmitted through touch, air,
She doesn't look like she's from these lands one bit, but she says to you, unfortunately, my knowledge of these illnesses is not very deep. I personally would advise all visitors to steer clear until we can find out more.
And Quincy will make his way to the tent of the wounded, and he'll start with... He's just basically going to find people who could benefit from some Cure Wounds castings. And he'll start with the most serious, and he'll cast Cure Wounds at 2nd level a few times on the more serious ones. And then he'll, when he runs out of 2nd level slots, he has 3 of them, he'll switch to 1st level.
Yeah, you end up treating them and get it all situated and everything. You do notice that the one other Templar that's in there with you, he appears to be completely drained, and he's using field medic techniques the best he can. He thanks you.
When I run out of spell slots, I'll aid him with any medicine checks that he's doing for field medicine. And do that until we're done for the night.
Yeah, Irame's going to return to Copernicus and say, I think that you and I should start setting up a tent. I don't think we should be staying anywhere near the residence here, just in case. I hate to be so rude, I suppose, but I fear we don't know how contagious these illnesses are. We should definitely have our own tent.
Yes, as far away from them as possible.
I even thought about outside of Camp Vengeance myself, but that might be dangerous as well.
Yeah, that seems a little extreme.
Yes. So maybe our own tent somewhere up in the northeast quadrant.
There's that little green patch up there.
Now, I guess for helping out, Copernicus will buddy up with one of the guards and take a watch.
Yeah, that works. He's very grateful to have you. They appear so tired, exhausted.
Yeah.
You can tell they need men in a bad way. There's not many of them here. A lot of those tents that are set up are empty.
I was thinking that when they were calling 6 men reinforcements. I was like, 6 men reinforcements? Wow.
We doubled our numbers.
Yeah, I mean, the good side is that with such few numbers, 6 may make a difference, but the bad side is, like, it's only that,
Yeah. It's tough.
It's still small numbers in the end.
Irame's definitely
but
fighting.
Hopefully the 6 will provide some relief.
Having pity and wanting to help with protecting herself and her friends.
Oh, yeah, it's so tough for Quincy to not want to bring these sick people back to Nyanzara.
Yeah, you get, just from spending the evening amongst these people, you get the gist that because all of you, for the most part, are familiar enough with the Order of the Gauntlet on the mainland of the Sword Coast, that here they just don't have enough of a presence for what they're trying to accomplish. But they believe the cause is such a good cause, they need to be here. They're just spread too thin, in a nutshell. And it shows, they're suffering greatly for it.
And their cause is to stop this undead that's popping up.
Exactly. That's the only reason they're in Chult, as far as you know, just from the information you've gathered.
Do they actually perceive the undead as, being serious enough that if they weren't there stopping them or holding them back, that the undead could even overtake Nyanzaru?
They strongly believe that the undead, or whatever's behind the undead, is a concern for the world. You get the idea anyway that it's such a cause that they feel that no other faction is taking it seriously. No one is taking it seriously. They're the only ones.
Definitely a Night's Watch feel, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're the only ones that are taking this undead situation seriously, is what you've gathered. And it's frustrating them. They're losing a lot of numbers. They're struggling to get reinforcements, struggling to get new recruits. It's just not a good scene all around. I mean, you guys have seen a little bit of the undead menace on your first time through. Not so much the second time through, apart from wandering zombie here and there, which was easily taken care of. But you definitely, especially after that first time through, you guys have no doubt that there could very well be something dangerous going on.
As Quincy moves about the camp and as he's helping out and interacting with people, he wants to keep an eye out, knowing that he needs a gem to finish building his staff. He's looking for any type of rings, jewelry, anything with gemstones in it that he may be able to later on at nighttime, when people are easing off of their shifts, barter, or somehow, he's looking for who he might connect with to try to gain a gemstone.
Right.
So he's just looking to target people for later, so that like later on he could approach them
Right.
for some kind of deal. Or
So you do find a man, and looks like he's been to hell and back, and he's everybody else is kind of staying away from giving him his own space. And he is on watch. He's on let's call it the northern tower there. And you see he does have a pouch on him, and every now and again he'll pull out a gem and just look at it. Doesn't even look like he's keeping watch, He's just kind of sitting up there, just staring at this gem.
I'll try to learn when an opportunity is to approach him. Like, do they have sort of like a mess time, or will they have like a period of time that they wind down before sleeping? Like even if it's just a short period of time.
Yeah, when there is a change of guard that occurs throughout the evening, and he climbs down the ladder, and are you gonna follow him?
Yeah, if I can catch him someplace where he's relaxing, like especially eating or drinking, or like in some sort of relaxed state.
Yeah, he returns to a tent where he pulls out some rations, some dried meat of sorts.
Is he the only one there, or are there a group of people?
Yeah, he's the only one there.
I'll approach. I'll introduce myself. I am Quincy Fallow, sir.
When you enter, he kind of looks up at you, stunned a bit.
Oh, sorry, I didn't realize I was going into his tent.
I am Quincy.
I am Quincy Fallow.
The young Quincy fellow.
So maybe as he's about to go into his tent, or if I see him go into his tent, then I'll kind of I'll make a noise. I'll rap as if I'm outside, and I'll wait for him to welcome me in, if he welcomes me in.
Yeah, eventually you hear, "There's someone out there."
Forgive me, sir. My name is Quincy Fallow. I'm a visitor here, and I couldn't help but notice that there's something different about you than the others.
You hear some rustling from inside, and then the flap on the tent peels open a bit, and you see kind of staring at you, and his face kind of contorts a bit. "Forgive me. Yes, come on in. You said your name was Quincy."
Yes, Quincy Fallow, sir. I I had made friends with a man named Savin who was investigating an occurrence at Camp Righteous. He had been captured by these awful beasts in the jungle. Snake folk, Yuanti, I believe. Well, he's actually here with us as reinforcements, and I'm just visiting, you see, but there's something different about you. I noticed you carry a dark cloud around you.
He kind of winces a bit. He says, I was there. I was there when the camp was taken. It was unlike anything I have ever seen.
I'm sorry to hear. You must have lost much.
Yes, we all lost much that night. What can I do for you, Quincy?
I chose to follow you here and to chat with you because, you see, I've been taught by a great man, this beautiful music, and I do believe that hearing this music will help. It won't cure you of your troubles, but it will perhaps soothe your soul a bit.
Yeah, give me a charisma check. Let's do it old school.
Just plain charisma, no nothing, no skills.
Or maybe persuasion. Do persuasion.
13.
13. He seems indifferent. He doesn't say no. He doesn't, shoo you away, but he doesn't seem very interested either.
Only if it's no trouble to you, sir, and I can't guarantee that it will help you at all, but if you would entertain the thought, then perhaps, it would do me a favor to allow me the opportunity to try. If he doesn't object, I'll start playing on my lute.
All right, let's do a performance check.
Ooh, 22.
You made him cry.
Nailed it.
If I could play, if I can keep him...
I was going to say, what kind of tune are you playing?
I am
What
going to play...
emotions are you trying to touch on?
I want to touch on... I want to play something that's a little bit sad, but also that has, like, the silver lining, like there's hope. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Like, meet him in his sadness, but lead him to...
The light.
That there's hope out there.
Okay.
And if he doesn't interrupt, like
we
if
just
I'm
blew somebody's mind.
No, I was hoping for like a song like that. We all know that
I would start to sing. No.
Oh no,
Or
you
just
were
tell
looking
us-
for like a reference to a song
like
that has
Rhyme
that
the Ancient
feeling.
Mariner. That's what I'm going for. Something like that,
He starts playing Poker Face by Lady Gaga.
But if he doesn't stop me within 1 minute, I'm going to use my enthralling performance. It takes 1 minute of playing in order to attempt it.
Okay.
And what that is he'll get a wisdom save, and if he fails, then he's charmed. And the wisdom save is DC 13.
DC 13.
Kicking a man when he's down.
Does it say that if he passes, that
He won't know.
He won't know.
He won't
Okay.
know.
He does. He does begin to tear up. He looks down at the pouch in his hand, but he resists the effect
not
of the
charmed.
spell. He's not charmed, and also, he rolled a natty 18, and then, but I think give me a investigation check.
19.
Okay, with a 19 investigation check, you can tell that whatever is beyond everything that's happened, something about this pouch of gems in his hand is definitely a key
Is it weighing on him?
to his sorrow.
It's disturbing him.
Yeah.
Yeah, so failing the charm, I'll instead just try to talk a little bit, speak with him a little bit.
He says that was a wonderful, wonderful song. Thank you for that.
It was a pleasure for me to share it with you, sir. Not many get to hear this kind of music.
Says if I may entrust you with a confession, perhaps.
Please, anything that you tell me would stay with me.
Please sit. It is a dark one.
I'll sit down and bend my ear toward him.
It is a story of honor and faith, good intent, the men of the order on the front lines. Nobody else cares about the undead wreaking havoc through the lands. It was a failed mission from the start. We had no hope, and it is what ultimately led to our defeat. It was not the undead that destroyed Camp Righteous. No, we were defeated long before the undead had arrived, and I played my part.
I see. I do not know what you're going through, but I can relate to some degree. You see, my friends and I, we are on our own mission, and we too believe that there's a darkness out there, some kind of evil, and we don't have much support, and not many believe in what we're doing. But I do have hope, and I think my friends also have hope, and we're going to go deeper into this jungle, and we're going to confront this evil. I've been working on, and I just hold up the stick that I've been carrying. It may sound like childish superstition, but I do believe that if I could finish the stick and perform an incantation, this is what's called a staff of Azut, an Azut's staff, that perhaps it will lead me to something that I need to confront this evil, this darkness. All I'm missing right now is a gemstone to place upon it.
He looks down at the pouch in his hands. You remind me of a lad I served with. That night the camp fell, he fell as well. His name was Timothy. And these gems had belonged to him. I had stolen them from him. A brother.
We need like an echo of Timothy's voice in the background. Hello, Kadarin.
We all do things in moments where the consequences aren't immediately known to us.
I believe you were sent here by Tom. You are all but Timothy's face and voice. Yes, it is true I stole these from Timothy. I had it in my mind to kill the young lad, if I'm to be honest. And if we were there any longer before the undead raged through the camp that night, I may as well have his blood on my hands. And for what? I had lost my mind amongst all the others. He holds the pouch out. Says, take them, Timothy. Take them back. And may I never see your face again in my dreams.
I'll receive them, and I'll just quietly say, I do believe this is an act of goodness, and that you will have more choices. Not all is lost.
He puts his head down. Says, I pray you are right. And we'll see you next time.
Yeah, we can hear you.
I could hear you.
Mm-hmm.
Hashtag welcome to the jungle.
No.
Yeah, no.
They're just not paying attention.
Yes, we are.
We're socializing, enjoying each other's company. For once.
John doesn't even like any of us.
I know.
He just puts up with
We're
us for the show.
Our fucking players. He would fucking axe us all in a heartbeat for 4 new ones.
If I could find a way to clone myself.
Just play with yourself.
I wouldn't even leave the house.
Well, you pretty much did. Once your kids grow up, you'll be all set.
I don't know. A couple of them might end up like me.